Hey, Mr. Ron.
Hi, Ted.
Whoa.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good.
So I'm surprised. I thought I was going to be coming in late. And
I know.
Hi, Megan.
Hi. Let's see.
where's our fearless leader?
Oh, I'm sure he'll be here soon.
Got any big plans for the weekend, Ted?
Yeah, I have to go finish up my brother's bathroom. We've been doing that for the last couple of months.
Oh, yeah?
He gutted it. We reframed it, put ceramic in the shower and floor and all that comes with that. So now we need to do the trim work and kind of just finish it off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you going to be, will you be finishing it this weekend or are you still?
Yeah, we should be done because the
Excellent.
vanity's in now, toilet's in. We just got a little bit of trim and we're good to go. So, yeah, hopefully that'll wrap that up.
Great. Then you can celebrate.
Yeah.
Or then you can start your next project.
The next project. Yeah, that's what it is. Just keep squeezing new projects in.
Hey guys and gal.
Hi, Mr.
Hey.
Kurt.
Thought I would poke my head in here and see what's going on today. Looked like a good topic.
It did. We're
Yeah,
all surprised that we're the first ones here.
that's all right.
Here we go.
All right.
Here we
People
go.
tend to come in late these days. Megan Coburn. I'll be darned. I guess I'm going to see you next week. I was just informed.
Hello, amazing people.
Hello, Mr. Sage.
Happy Friday.
How are you, Ted?
Good.
Hi there.
Hey, Katie, Sharon, Ruthie, Megan, Ron.
Can any of you guys even hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Megan.
Sweet. I had to move my audio setup because I keep running into it with my knees. So now it
No.
sits on the shelf unless it's plugged in.
Audio logistics. So you guys want to hear some like really stupid drama? You guys all about
I think
stupid
we've
Friday?
had a lot of stupid drama this week already.
Oh my! Last week was stupid drama too. This week more stupid drama.
Are you talking like Sabado Gigante drama or like Meghan Markle
Like
gave someone the
COVID
wrong pen drama?
COVID drama. This is
Go
COVID
for it.
drama. So my wife works at Frederick Memorial Hospital, and she's in ultrasound. So their tech quarters are if you think like the depth of a broom closet, and then like 12 feet of that, that's kind of their tech quarters, and they have sort of like a desk on either side. It's really, really small. One of their main nurses just tested positive, and they've all worked together for the past like 3 days. And my wife, that person who tests positive, their car has been broken down. So 3 different people have been driving her around for the last 3 days too. So I'm just like, come on, really?
No.
So it's just,
If she needs to talk to somebody who's had it, my ex-husband was patient 0 in Montana and he has all kinds of deets.
Oh, boy.
wow,
Wow.
that's no good. No bueno.
Oh no, it was one of the better decisions in his life. It's okay. But he's been dealing with the after effects for months and tracking them.
Wow.
Sure.
So
Wow. Nahid, good to see you. Brian, Liz, how are you guys all doing? Good to see you guys.
Hey, Sage.
I feel like I came in at the wrong time in the conversation.
My wife works at the hospital and in ultrasound, and one of the radiology nurses just came back positive, whose car has been broken down all week. So people have been driving her around, to include my wife, to and from work. So we're just. My daughter just had to send 5 friends home. They're like, sleepover's canceled.
oh, smart though, yeah.
Mr. Donaldson, how are you, sir?
Fair to middle and partly cloudy. How are you, Sage?
Good. I see the partly cloudy in the background, man. That's great.
He's still on vacation.
Lovely St. Thomas. Gotta love it.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
What's
Linda,
up?
how are you?
I mean, that's a real background? You're joking.
He's
We
not bad
both
for a
Gullible. So gullible.
Okay, no blonde jokes. All right, got it.
I wish there's a real background.
Well, it is a real background, just not Donald's.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You know. True.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's, right. That's what I
So who's
meant,
our speaker today?
Ron. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Liz is the wonderful speaker for today. Hey, did the 3 o'clock email go out? Did everyone get
Yes.
the 3 o'clock
I
email?
got,
Yes.
got it.
Yes.
I'm not getting my own emails anymore for some reason. So I was like, at work? I don't know what's going on.
I sent somebody an email yesterday. It took 19 minutes for them to receive it.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Really?
I don't know.
I thought it was just the snail mail that was slow.
No, I'll tell you, Tasha emailed me. She texted me to tell me that she emailed me this morning, and I got it an hour ago.
See?
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, there's something going on.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Exciting.
Mine was a Zoom invite, so it was tough.
Oh no.
I don't know.
Sounds like a conspiracy.
Hey, Sage, can I say something real quick?
Of course you can.
Okay, everybody. Liz is going to be our speaker today. How many of you would like to help somebody and see a change in their lifestyle? Just raise your hand if you would.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good change.
There's 13 of us on the call. Yeah, there's 13 of us on the call. I had the privilege of doing a 1-hour one-on-one with Liz this week. It was so good. We're going to do another one next week. But I really got a basic understanding of what she's doing. And if we listen carefully to what she does, this one phone call, if each one of us sent her one person, we could make a positive change just from this 1 hour and 15 people's lives. And guess what? We could do it without medication and prescriptions, just by talking to her and her sharing what she does. So if you would just take a little extra minute and listen to what she has to say, because it's phenomenal. We need more of this in our society. So, Liz, that's my testimonial for you today.
Your check is in the mail. Thank you.
I second that.
Hey, wow, guys.
So amazing. Yes. If you haven't had a one-on-one with Liz, that should be the first thing on your list.
And like that,
Guys.
Doug has taken over the group. Doug, it's all yours, buddy. That was awesome.
He tends to do that.
That was great. That was so good.
We had so much fun, and I feel like for everybody that I've had one-to-ones with, Nadia and I were talking this week also, like, and Nahid and I were talking just today. Like, I've loved every connection that I have made in this group. This has been so wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, you guys are awesome. You guys are bringing on great people. Speaking of great people, Nadi, how are you doing? How was your week?
Hi, I'm great. It's sunny outside. I was telling Liz, like, I need the sun outside if I'm going to be stuck inside in front of my computer. And you can see, like, my room is all white. So I'm happy today.
That's good. That's good.
Did you get a haircut?
Oh, I did on Saturday. I chopped it off. There's nothing.
very
Yeah, I see that.
My neck is a little cold, but I love it. I don't have to do anything.
That is so true. And did your shipment come in yet?
Yeah,
Oh
really.
my God, yes. And it smells so
Really
good.
great.
I'm
They're,
so
like,
happy.
super
Yeah, that's probably why. So I have brand new cinnamon, peppercorn, everything.
And the chai?
And the chai, yes. Yeah. I forgot. Sorry.
So is it already updated on the
I told
website?
Ricky she needs to try my chai.
Is it updated on the website so we can order?
Yes, we just updated the website. I do have to do a whole email campaign. I was talking to Linda earlier, and I wasn't like feeling very good about my email campaign, but she cheered me up, and now it's working. So Linda has a golden touch too.
Oh yeah.
Great.
That's awesome. This is like the best way to end the week. I tell you,
This is my
every
favorite.
time I get to it, I'm like, I just got to finish everything before I get to 4 o'clock. And I've been struggling when I'm having one of those days. So it's 4:08. I'll give you guys another couple minutes so you guys can pal around. At about 4:10 or so, we'll go ahead and start putting stuff in the chat. So don't do it yet. Let's make sure and see if we got any other stragglers coming in, and we can we'll chat in a minute here.
Oh, speaking of the chat, I think the chat disappears after we go to our breakout rooms.
No, it comes back when you sign
Does
back
it?
in.
Yeah, it'll come back.
Okay.
And when it comes back, it includes what you had your breakout room and everything from the main session.
Oh, okay.
You have to wait until the bitter end to download the chat.
What is so bitter about the end, Liz?
The bitterness is that I don't get to see you guys for another 7 days.
Liz, you need to start your own group. You can do it on Tuesdays.
I don't want to have another group. I like this group.
So she wants to leverage an existing group, not create a brand new one around her sparkling personality.
I don't want to leverage it. I just want to be in it more. I know, Sage, for a while you were doing this twice a week. And
I was.
Yeah.
I am still thinking about moving this away from Friday because I get flooded with emails and people saying, I'm so sorry I can't make it, just too much going on, or we're already leaving and starting our weekend early. So I might move this to Thursday, same time on Thursdays. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
So some of you are looking around. I don't know. I was giving
Friday's
No,
easiest for me.
that's not bad.
This is my favorite way to end my week, but you know, if that means ending my week on Thursday, then that's what it means.
Yeah, there you go. Bonus.
Awesome.
Well, it was funny because I had somebody, they were trying to get me on a call at 2:30 today, and then they were like, oh, I actually can't do 2:30. Do you have anything later? And I had time between, 2 and right now, but I was like, no, the only thing I got later, the only thing I have right now is this. Like, I don't have energy for anything else.
Yeah.
Like, she said yes to 2:30, so I was going to do it. But it's also what I was telling my husband. I was like, I can't do any other phone calls except this one. This one's fine.
I've been getting disciplined about it. It's kind of
Self-care.
funny is after this meeting's over, I will not go back onto my emails. I will not go back into it. I just let it ride. And then maybe Saturday or Sunday, I might check for a little bit, but I do just let it be the end of the day. All right, guys, it's 4:11. So for those of you who have not been in the No Agenda chat, this is not one of your typical networking groups where we chat about our businesses for any period of time. This is a group just about bringing community together. It's sort of what you saw in the first 10 minutes, everyone kind of loving on each other, giving a little bit of ripping on each other a little bit, but all in a fun way. We keep it lighthearted. It's what I call a community mastermind type of group where we're all here to help each other and share knowledge, share success, share growth, and share our troubles as well. If we're all having any troubles and need help with any areas, by all means, come on and let's talk about it. Let's see if we can help each other out and see if we can find some solutions. You guys are all experts in your own way, even Mr. Kurt over there. So by all means, we should all be able to, no, sorry, Kurt, I love you. We should all be able to, if we have troubles or anything like that, be able to call any one of us and get some help, which I know you guys do a lot anyway. So for those of you who can see my screen, if you can, in chat, just introduce yourself, who you are, way for people to get a hold of you, a sentence about your family, and a sentence about your business. And it's perfect timing to put it now because Eric is here. So we're ready to start.
What about me? Am I chopped liver?
You were already here. I'm saying Eric's late though. I do like your hat.
Thanks. It's a Zoom thing.
Does anybody remember what you need to press in order to get your stuff to the next line without having to hit enter and hopefully not?
Shift enter.
Everybody's saying different stuff.
Shift enter.
Shift enter. Okay, thank you.
Alt works too. I do alt enter. So shift or alt will take it to the next line.
I write my thing elsewhere and just copy and paste.
That's why you're always first, Brian. I see that. You are efficient.
I try.
That didn't work.
What didn't work?
Needs.
Oh, didn't. Try alt.
So control didn't work.
Yeah, either shift or alt.
Oh, did you say shift? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say I totally hit shit. Like I said, shift.
I can't find the shit button.
The shit button? I don't think I know where the shit button is either.
That's a problem.
It's different.
Sage, can you see my latest?
Yeah, I like that one. The glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking quite futuristic right there.
Where's that?
You're having too much fun. That's awesome.
I'm tired and it's been a very long week, so I'm taking advantage of this. Oh, there it is. I'll stay on Muppets for now.
Ruthie, that is awesome. I love your family one. That is very, very cool. That's the way to do it right. Come back from maternity leave and like, I'm back. I'm out.
Yeah, like I didn't even tell them, like I told them that I was not coming back. Like I gave them 30 days, but I was still on leave. So I only went back to pick up my stuff and drop off my badge.
There you go.
Was saying something because I thought I was gonna maybe not work for the same company forever, but I thought I was always gonna work there and do that job. Like I thought I was gonna like die and they were going to take my brain and like, you know, make like a cyber copy of it. We used to make those jokes for people who had been there forever because it was government work. So they would just like, they were like, yeah, and they probably take your brain and slice it up so they can make like cyber copies of it and never lose all of your knowledge. Of course, they don't do that because that would be efficient. Even if we had the capability, they wouldn't do it.
They will in 50 years when it's not efficient anymore.
Soon. Ron, can you go into a little more detail, my friend? I want to hear more about this.
What about
what you and your wife like to do.
We'll spend a time in the evening and you know, she reads to me or I read to her. Keep our brains engaged.
And the second part?
Oh, the sumo wrestling tournament.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
every 2 months they have a 2-week sumo wrestling tournament. Can't miss those.
Mistake.
Awesome.
Oh, there we go. All right.
So there was an Eventbrite in Baltimore, and I forget the location, but they had sumo wrestling that day.
No, this is the Japanese. This is the real thing.
My wife and I went to Baltimore to watch sumo wrestling once, and it was a lot of fun. Actually, I had no clue what was going on, but it was so much fun.
Bunch of big guys pushing each other around.
Okay, I'll give you guys a few more minutes. I think we have a couple of slow typers. Go ahead.
Nahid, you're getting the dog? Yay!
Which group did you find it from, Nahid?
The one that I initially talked to, which was Canine Savers. By the way, thank you for putting me in touch with Debbie. She contacted me immediately, but I didn't realize XL, I should have realized it, was large dogs. We're not looking for up to 160-pound dogs. It's like 80 pounds and above, which was a bit more than I could handle.
Did you say you're adopting a husky?
No, I have no idea. I have no idea who we're going to get. We're going to pick up somebody tomorrow.
Oh.
I'm fostering, so I should start.
Oh,
by
you're
saying
fostering.
that. I'm fostering. I might be like Drew and be a foster fail. We'll see.
Awesome. Megan, I want to see
good
pictures
luck
on
at that
Facebook
corn
on your
maze.
corn maze.
Are you going to the one in Gabriel's?
Yes, I am. Who said
Okay,
that?
so I pick up my animal food from there because they have like the chicken, goat, and duck feed and stuff. Good luck there. I feel like some people were like on purpose not socially distancing, so just keep an eye out.
Where is
I
that?
will. They had
Both
us
of
like,
Maryland Sunrise Farm.
Oh.
they had us to grab tickets in advance, but I will definitely proceed with caution.
You should bring an air horn with you, and if they get
Yeah.
too close, just fire that sucker off. Let them know.
I was saying a flare gun, so if you get lost in there.
So she can turn Maryland into California, Sage? No thanks. Don't you
And
dare shoot out a flare
okay,
gun.
not a flare gun. I'm sorry.
In a corn maze, a dried out corn maze.
Hey,
They're
you
doing
got-
a Harry Potter theme this year. Is that the one? Doing the Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I used to love those.
Yeah, they do a different theme every year, and it's a lot of fun. I took the kids, before all of this, and yeah, it's definitely I live like 15 minutes from there, so it's something I like to take the kids to do.
Nice. That's close.
All right, guys, ready to go. So today for breakout rooms, you guys are going to be in 10 minutes, 5 minutes per person. And today our question is not necessarily a question, but we're going to give a cool business tidbit to others. So for some of you, it's going to be, you might struggle to find this one tidbit because you're like, oh my God, this and this and this. Others of you, we'll see where this goes. I'm excited to see some of the responses back. So this is gonna be great. So today, again, give a cool business tidbit to others. This can be a tip or trick. It can be something about business. It can be something that you struggle with.
We're looking at a blank screen, Sage.
Well, it's not blank. It's weird though. I
It's
mean,
like
it was not
known
blank
that.
for me. It was weird for me.
It was weird for me too.
Mhm.
But then,
There you
There we go.
go.
There we go.
A cool business tidbit, like a
Cool business tidbit to
Tip?
others. So this is a tip or trick, something you've learned in business that is something wise. This is your chance to pass your wisdom on to others.
Ruthie and I are making great faces right now.
You are, yeah. Ruthie, just started drinking a little early. You'll be fine. You'll come up with something good. I have faith in you.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so
fire
breakout rooms.
hose.
We have 7 breakout rooms today.
Fire
Okay.
hose? I want to
Yeah,
be with
fire
Ruthie.
hose of information.
All right, you guys got 10 minutes, 5 minutes per person. So again, a cool business tidbit. I'll see you guys soon. All right, so anyone watching this after the fact, I know I'm still recording myself on a dead screen here. It's just me. So my cool business tidbit I give to others is, I'd say like best tip I can give people is let's think about this, is remember when it's time to just chat and build strong networking connections, and remember when it's time to sell. So there's a lot of times where people are like, oh, what do you do? And I start talking about what I do. And next thing I know, I've gone down a rabbit hole and I've talked about 20 minutes about what I do as a company. And realistically, their eyes are like, wow, you guys do a lot. Or wow, I don't understand half of what you said because I just lost it and went. And I've gotten better over the years with that. However, I've had people even in meetings, like before I go into the meeting, they're like, I really need help with your service. I really need help with this and that, or I really need help with a new website. And then I go into the very first networking meeting where I meet them, or the very first one-to-one where I'm meeting them, and we start talking shop right off the bat and go into details about what they need. And I think that I have to be more disciplined to not do that and just say, hey, we can talk details later. Today, we're just here for a one-to-one. Today, we're just here to learn more about each other and see if we can, what we can do to help each other. So that's my tidbit. And I'm going to go on pause until everyone else gets back.
Cool business tidbit. Can you be more specific?
Just a business tip or trick. So mine, would you like to hear mine?
Sure.
So mine, I've suffered with a lot over the years, and I think I'm getting a little bit better with it. And it's funny, as I just talked to the camera about this. So if you ever look back on the recording, you see where I'm talking to the camera all on my lonesome, but I talked about it first and then put it on pause. But for me, it was learning when to talk sales and when to just network. And I even made the mistake, even as recently as like just a month ago, where someone might be an I was like, hey, let's do a one-to-one together. Like, yeah. And by the way, I really, really need your services. Here's what's going on my website. And so he went and blah, 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 his website. And then I went into the one-to-one. I was like, okay, well, let me help give this guy some value. But I went into the one-to-one with like the whole analytics and almost like, here's what I propose that you should do and all that kind of stuff, versus just have a meeting just to get to know each other. And it almost like completely took away from us being able to build a good relationship. Because then when I called him back, I actually called him back at about a referral. And he answers the phone, hey, Sage, hey, I know I still got to get a response to you on what to do with the website. So he starts going on and on and on. I'm like, no, dude, I got a referral for you. Oh, okay. So it's really weird because I feel like because of that, it changed the dynamic of the relationship too soon. And he became, a prospect versus why not just have someone in your network? And that was on me. I shouldn't have done that. I should have really been disciplined and even told him like, okay, time out. Let's just get to know each other first, and then we'll talk about these things. But
yeah, it's really hard to go back from that, isn't it?
Yeah. And so now every time I start talking to the guy, he's thinking that I'm going to talk to him first about possibly becoming a client. I'm not at all. So yeah, I think I've pretty much kind of ruined that relationship. So it is what it is. Live and learn, right?
Right. And we only know what we want from experiencing what we don't want. So learning, those things are called contrasts, right? And they're always there for a purpose. So don't beat yourself up about it. You learned from it, and it didn't cost you, a whole lot. You guys still have time, so that's fine. It's not like it's detrimental to the relationship completely. When I think about that question, the first thing that comes to my mind is be authentic and vulnerable. So showing your true side and your true colors, and that you're a person too, and that you.
How do you be vulnerable? So everyone's a little different on this one. Some people, it's just, I don't know. Some people they feel transparency is vulnerability, but how do you feel? What do you think is vulnerability?
Yeah, and maybe that is a better word. But with what I'm doing, it's really important to be able to open up my story to people. So people share a lot of intimate, is often painful or difficult, stories with me. And I want them to feel like they can be vulnerable and authentic. So in a very short amount of time, I have to build a rapport with them so that they feel comfortable and trusting and, feel like, okay, this is a safe space where I can really talk about what's going on with me or what happened in my past. And it's been crazy what people share. It's awesome, but it's very humbling. But I think, I've got, God knows, my own baggage and tons of it. So it's really important for me when somebody feels uncomfortable sharing something about their past, that I can mirror that and say, I totally understand. I went through the same thing.
Yeah, like what you're saying.
Very,
it's
similar.
So important. It's so important to build that trust as soon as possible, right?
Right. Because, I don't want people to think that I'm like unscathed and went through life and now I'm sitting high on my throne trying to help them, when I can say, I went through abuse. I went through, different issues with my parents and abandonment and vulnerability there and lack of protection. And, it's just like, you name it. runs the gamut. So, alcoholic parent, and like I can totally relate to everybody. So, oh.
Wow, that's awesome. Yep, they're coming back. You got 5 seconds here.
Hi, ladies.
Hola.
Hi.
So, hello. Did you guys have a good time?
Yes.
Did.
That's awesome. I love it. I love when people are coming back all smiling. This is great.
Mid-sentence, you pull us out.
Yeah, right.
I ripped you out of your room.
Exactly. I was like, oh, it's gone.
I had my tip all lined up and forgot to give it to him.
Oh no!
All
right, so let's share a little bit. And Kurt, we'll start with you. What's your business tip?
Business, since I'm known as a kind of a networking guru, so to speak. I've been organizing and managing networking groups for almost 30 years, so I probably have picked up a couple tips. I might be able to share some wisdom. My piece of advice is when you're networking with someone, the person who is asking the questions is in control of that interaction. So I would say that when you're networking with a partner, and maybe now Sharon can understand where I was going, because she said, oh my gosh, I've been talking about me the whole time. We got to talk about what you do, because I was controlling the situation because I kept asking her questions. So I start to learn more and more and more about someone, the more questions you ask, and then you can sort of find little hot buttons and things that you can talk about to establish rapport, and then try to help somebody, and that usually is a great way to end.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Everyone's like nodding their heads. That was a good one.
You don't learn much. You don't learn anything while your lips are flapping. That's another tip.
Absolutely. All right. So who wants to follow Mr. Kurt there? That was pretty good.
I have a follow up.
Go ahead, Megan. I heard you first.
I just want to say that's a great tip, and I definitely have learned that too in my coaching experience. With going virtual and everything, what would be your tip for that balance of having that other person speak? Blocking like an hour or being clear in the beginning? Because to be fair, for both parties.
You're asking me?
Yeah, you said you're a master.
Oh, okay. I don't think there's really any difference. I think you can connect with people face to face. I mean, you have an advantage when you're face mask to face mask these days, because there's so much more input with body language and different kinds of things. But I don't think there's really a whole lot of difference. I mean, you certainly want to introduce yourself and let people know what you do, but the more you learn about the other person, positions yourself much better to do follow-up. And we all know the fortune is in the follow-up.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Good question. Ted, go ahead.
Well, I'm not as smooth as Kurt, that's for sure. You want my tip or my person's tip that I
I'll
thought?
say whichever one is better. We'll let you judge.
Oh, better?
See what we come up with.
Well, they both were equal, and I was in with
both then.
Nahid. So Nahid's tip had to do with understanding how to work her online scheduling. Because obviously we can put that out there, and somebody can block an hour here and block an hour there, and you lose time to actually get your business done for your clients because you're spending all this time chasing the pre-booked appointments. And I thought that was pretty good. And I don't do that method. I kind of like give somebody else the option. What couple of days work for you? I'll let them pick a day and time, and then I look at my schedule and say, oh, that works best here. I'll take that one, And then another tip we had that I've been using since the COVID is getting my clients more involved in social media groups. Just posting by yourself or on your own page doesn't always get you the right results. Groups are free, so there's no charge. Enter your clients and enter your own self into other local groups that kind of revolve around what you do, and share some information in those groups. You're going to get a lot more feedback, and you're going to get a lot more page likes and interactions and chats and conversation, and that could lead to greater sales.
That's awesome. Awesome. Good advice. Anyone else? Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, Liz had a laundry list of awesome tips, but the one that resonated the most that I thought was great, because it has to do with all the voices in my head, defrag your mental computer. And that's do a task that can help your brain kind of remove itself from itself and kind of compartmentalize all the input that you've been taking in the past few days. And yeah.
You have to tell them what those tasks are.
Oh, well, for me, it's mowing the lawn or vacuuming.
Okay.
It's the noise. It's
Yeah.
about the white noise.
I like it. You know, as soon as you said defrag your mental computer, all I thought of was putting my head next to a magnet. I don't know why.
That's not how you defrag your
It's
computer.
weird. I don't know where I'm going.
Don't put a magnet on your computer.
It's
That
just-
will not defrag it.
Anyone else?
Well, in a manner of speaking, it will, Liz.
Okay, moving on.
Not the way that you wanted to.
No, but Eric had one too.
Please.
Because he said put facts over feelings, right? So like in business, when things are getting like to pay attention to the feeling, dive into the facts of it, and that can help to alleviate some of the emotional stuff. Because when you get to the nitty gritty of the facts, they're usually not as, what was the word we were using? Exciting.
We
right?
use so many good words.
I
forget
know,
which one
right?
we went with.
Like our stories are so much less exciting when we get to the facts of them as opposed to how we tell them.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great. That's great. I get it. I totally get it. I had to translate it a little bit, but I got it. Anyone else? Anyone else have a really good one there? It's just like mind blowing. You're like, man, that's good stuff.
Megan had a good one that just put it down, that mattered more to me because I've been having longer calls, but just coming up with like some sort of phrase that you can use that's, can you get out, please? No, get out. He just got home. He's tired.
I told you.
But getting just a phrase or something. And then Megan, when you said that though, I thought maybe if I got into the habit of saying something at the start, that might help set expectations too for how long I'm on the phone. I just miss people, you know. So if I talk extra long to you, it's probably because I love you.
I feel the same way, Ruthie. I'm the same way.
Absolutely, yeah. The beginning too, yeah. And we need connection now too, so we want to be on. Just somehow finding the.
So a couple of you are bringing up like times of calendars. So just so you guys know, I'll tell you how I do it. I use Calendly. And just so you know, I've set up 4 different appointments. I've set up a 15-minute, a 30, a 45, and an hour. And so when I send people a link to my calendar, I send a link. I used to send it to the hour, but sometimes I don't do that anymore. I send it to link to just my main Calendly, and they can pick which one they want. And when I get on a meeting with someone, if they chose 30 minutes, as soon as we start, I'll say, hey, you know, I saw you sign up for 30 minutes today. Let's have a good chat, you know, just to let you know. Or at some point in the meeting, I'll say, I have a hard stop at such and such point. I usually try to give them a little bit extra because I feel like all of them go a little bit long. But I do tell people I have a hard stop at sometimes. If I don't do that, there's times where I blink and all of a sudden I've gone like 2 hours. I'm like, oh my God, I still have all my own stuff to do.
So is it that you're telling them you have a hard stop or you're telling yourself you have a hard stop?
Well, I guess it's both. I mean,
right? Because like, that's my problem is not that, because I use Calendly, but like, yeah, like I'll just,
well, and if you don't have another appointment that's stacked up to it, like
I know, that's it.
4, but if you do have somebody at 4, you stop, right?
Right, exactly, because I'm not going to, you know, lose their time. But like I was on the phone with Eric today, and like I felt like I could have just kept talking to him, but I had another call right after that, so that's where I went.
I've even come to find out that it's really about managing expectations, because if you say it's a 30-minute meeting and you go to 45, you're setting the precedent that you are always willing to go to 45. And when you can't make that exception, they're going to be not only disappointed in you, but if they're a client, they're going to be upset. And so the gift that you're giving them of that extra time is actually poisoning the future relationship by giving them unfair expectations. So that hard stop is really more about establishing the boundaries in the relationship to keep everybody happy, because they're not going to be mad at you for the 30-minute limit when they signed up for a 30-minute meeting. But if you teach them that you always go to the 45 and then you take it back, you're going to disappoint them.
So that's definitely important with clients.
Yes.
But I know, like Nahid and I were on earlier, and I could have talked to you all day, but I did have, like, we both had appointments. And I think when it's colleague to colleague, I personally give myself some grace, because you might know that I'm very chatty. So I give myself some grace, and I will always say, I see we're coming up to this time. Do you have a few more minutes? Right? And we did that this morning too. I was like, oh, and we went over a little bit, but it worked for both of us because there was a buffer. You know, so that's the other part, is if you know that you're chatty, create a buffer for yourself when you're with colleagues. But Megan is 1,000% right. Like, I used to work in an ice cream store where I would always put a little extra scoop on top, just a tiny bit to make it 2 ounces. And my boss said to me, people will start to expect it. And when you get good at this, they're going to think you're not giving them as much. Mm-hmm. I was 15 and it still applies. Mm-hmm.
One of the things you can also do is when you set those expectations is get them to agree. You know, say, would that be okay? So you sort of get them to buy in, and you know, they don't want to be upset if they've already agreed up front that that's the way it's going to be. It sort of locks it in really nice and makes it sort of easy to break away when you have to.
The way I phrase it, I always say, I really want to be respectful of your time, so I know we're getting close to the end of our meeting here. Just to make sure, here's what we've talked about. We got about 5 minutes left. What's really, and so I kind of put it back on them. They're like, oh yeah, I got stuff to do. I don't know why, but it works okay. And it's not like me putting the wall up.
Most people appreciate that. I've found.
Yeah. All right, guys. Unfortunately, we're getting. I'm digging into Liz's time right here. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and transition. I appreciate you guys being open and honest and passing these great tidbits. I encourage you guys, if you had a great sort of mini one-to-one, schedule those follow-ups. Use the chat to set those things up. And Liz, you're up. So everyone, we have a wonderful coach who's visiting us all the way from North Carolina, and from her new house, which it looks like there's just so many great windows. It's just, you got to give us a tour one day of the new house. But you guys, Liz is phenomenal. Oh, she's already taken.
Wait a minute, this is the wrong one.
Look at that.
This is all wrong.
So Liz, I'm going to turn this over to you. The stage is yours. And
okay, hold on a minute. I have to stop sharing. This is wrong. Let me get to the right one.
Are you sure that's not Sandra Bullock?
Who? Where?
You.
Me?
Yeah, you're a spitting image of Sandra Bullock.
Nobody ever said that to me before.
Really?
No.
Oh my gosh. Hit me right away.
I just lost my presentation.
And like that, Liz just completely lost her train of thought. The whole meeting is going to be like,
oh, there it is. No, because I got into presentation mode and then it went full screen and I lost you guys. Can you see me? Because I can't see you if I'm.
I can still see you.
Okay.
Okay, so while she's trying to figure that out, everyone, if you can, please, you remember the Facebook group, No Agenda Business Chat. If you can, just every now and then, just post something on there. If you got a new thing coming up, you got a new event, you got new cinnamon on there, you got something going on in your life that is worth sharing, share. Everyone else in the group, please go on there, love it, comment, and share that to other people as well outside of the group. All right, let's make sure that we're all helping each other, not only within the group and within our one-to-ones, but also if we can through Facebook, and help each other get some more business. Liz, you good, or do I need to keep stalling?
No, I think I'm good, but I'm on the wrong slide. So can you see? You can see all of this, which means that that's not quite right. So close your eyes for a second. Okay, I'm ready. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Okay. I am Liz, and I've never done this particular part because I usually just dive in, but I've timed this and I think we're good. So this is me, this is my family, my husband over there and my kid. We're actually from Maryland, go figure. When my kid was born at about 6 months old, we got in an RV and we moved to California. And then we were there for about 7 years before my husband's father died. And then we were left with this insane choice. Do we stay 3,000 miles away from family or do we come back? And so we had this awesome choice, heads Carolina, tails California. We flipped a coin and we ended up in North Carolina. So we brought our dog. This is Monster. He's 13. He's wonderful. And these are the cats. I'm not going to say any more about them. So here we are. And today's presentation is called Emotional-ish, Understanding Ourselves Better to Become Our Better Selves. We are going to get started today by asking a very simple question, because I always do that. What is emotion? Once we get to the bottom of that, we can start to have a better understanding of how we can use our emotions to prescribe our futures, to capitalize on the aha moments, and to increase their impact. We can start to take action regarding our behavioral patterns rather than just accepting those things as who we are. Yeah, once we re-understand emotions, we can actually start to relax. We can stop worrying about the past. We can start to smile when we plan for a future that we know that we can achieve, but not until we get it. And so this is how we start. What is emotion? What does it do? So I took Sage's idea. I've got this little 4-minute counter, but it's not, well, whatever, it's okay. So what is emotion? We're gonna take a couple of minutes and we're gonna talk about that. I wanna know, what does emotion do? How do we know it? How do we know that it's there? Does anybody here have any ideas? Just pop up. Anybody?
You feel it.
It takes control.
It takes control, you feel it. What does that look like?
I feel it in my gut. I feel like something's trying to tell me something.
Okay, that's such an interesting thing you said, Sage. You feel it in your gut, like something is trying to tell you something. Eric, you said it takes control, right? We talk about emotions like we understand them, like it's a thing that we can put our finger on. But what is emotion? It's so hard, right? You know, I had given us 4 minutes for this, but we also went a little over. So if everybody wants, we can move on a little bit because I want to just kind of push us through. So the way that I work and the way that I look at emotion is that emotion is a process. All right, let me see. And that process has a lot to do with how we're thinking, right? So Sage, you said, I feel something in my stomach like it's trying to tell me something. So what happens to you when you feel something in your stomach? And you know it's trying to tell you something. The process goes like this. What is that feeling? What is it trying to say to me? What's going on here? And when we start with that process, this crazy, crazy thing happens. Okay, I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I started with only 5 dots and then I really needed you to see because it's more than just a process, it's a cycle, okay? This whole emotional life that we have, it's in process. It's not like there is one thing that happens and now we're gonna have a reaction to it, right? We're already in it. So then when this next thing happens, it's the next step. I've got some notes here, let me get back to them. We're gonna break down this process. It's a cycle. We have to find an entry point. And if you look at the cycle like this, it's not like you can say, here's the beginning. So I'm just gonna pick one, okay? And I'm gonna pick this one, the trigger, okay? This first trigger. Something in or around us grabs our attention. It's from that millisecond of awareness that we start our internal process. We ask ourselves, what just happened? What's this sensation? And then from that question, our subconscious actually provides us with an answer, usually in the form of an image, okay? There's something going on. It's from that image that our emotional state is set. Now I'm scared. Now I'm angry. I'm sad. Now I'm really happy, right? It's based on that image. Okay, all of our behavior is predicated on how we feel. So word, the trigger, then the word, what just happened, then the picture. That's where our emotional state shows up, and then we act based on how we feel. So let's do a quick example. Who here has ever been cut off on the highway? The first thing that comes to my mind, or that used to come to my mind, was, what, am I invisible? My best friend, on the other hand, goes, that guy, you know, who does he think he is, right? Everybody has a different set of thoughts that are associated with getting cut off on the road. And then you get to where you are and you're worked up, right? Who's that guy? Oh, he's the guy that cut me off. Now I'm going to be like this, and now I'm going to show up at work and be like, what? Does anybody else have that experience where something happens and then they just hold on to it for the rest of the day? Okay. So let me find this. Variations on the thoughts are common, but you get that the irritation, anger that you feel when someone cuts you off actually begins with a thought and then quickly cascades into honking horns, flipping them off, flashing our lights, clutching our steering wheels, screaming, or worse. The outcome of repeated exposure to that trigger is that the process becomes a habit, one that moves at a rate that is so much faster than our intentional thought process. And these become our patterns of behavior. They all begin with a simple thought. So today we're going to discover the purpose of an emotion. So if emotions are actually part of a process or a cycle that starts with thinking, we actually have some different questions that we have to ask. What do our thoughts do for us? Who knows? Who here wants to share with me what they think the purpose of our thoughts are? What do they do?
Keep us safe.
They try to help us to understand what our emotions are. They come up with an explanation for our emotions.
Okay. So they inform us about our safety. They can help us question and you know, look for more. They help us to narrate what's going on around us. Oh, that's a really pretty tree. I love that the sun is out, right? They help us create things. How do we get creative, right? There are lots of purposes for our thoughts, like this is what they do. But now we come to, are our thoughts always correct, true, and helpful? I see Katie, she's like, no, nuh-uh. Right? Okay, so that's something that we did. Is there anybody in this room here who believed that their thoughts were always correct, true, and helpful? Okay, good. That's good. Next question. Are our thoughts within our control?
To a degree. Yeah.
Say more.
Well, I think that as you know, we can meet a lot of people that are, you know, negative forces, and there are people that we know that are sort of positive forces. They always seem to have a great attitude, and then things happen in their lives, and then they're all of a sudden different, you know. So I think that outside forces can make a difference in controlling the way we behave and think.
That was a lot to say right there. And you're absolutely right. You know, things that are going on. Well, let's say, because if our thoughts are only related to the things that are going on externally, or like if you're ill internally, then are they in our control? Or are they being ping-ponged around based on the stimuli in the world? And so this is where I think a lot of people come to. I saw Sage going kind of like this. Like, what does that mean, Sage?
Kind of.
I think there's a lot of times where you take input of stimulus that's out there and you're taking and receiving that input. And there's some times where we start thinking about that, but I still feel we have somewhat of a choice to say whether it's going to impact us or not, or whether we want to think more about it, or whether we want to apply. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes it just hits us and you're like, shit, I'm triggered. Sorry, I swear. But shoot, I'm triggered. And then all of a sudden I'm stuck on it. But I feel like we have a little bit of control whether we spend too much thought on or more thought.
And that's precisely where we're heading today. So I'm on somebody else's thing. What can we do about any of this, right? Our thoughts, not unlike our blinking and our breathing, are very much automatic. They're there and they need to go automatically. However, not unlike breathing and blinking, if we set our intention on it, we can choose to take a deeper breath, to keep our eyes closed for a little longer. We can choose to say, this thought does not serve me. And so we come to this. What did we talk about before? How do we define emotion? We often define it by the impact, the effect of the recognized emotion on the situation, or the effect of the behavior. The information that you can get about emotion often comes from the behavior. And if you're somebody like me, we trace it backwards. How somebody must have felt in order to have done or said such a thing, whatever that thing was. But this isn't about other people's behavior, it's about yours and how you can make choices about it. So I'm gonna change the way you're thinking about emotions even more right now. I want you to start thinking about emotional information as part of your sensory system. And we kind of touched on this before, okay? What's our sensory information? And I just looked at the time, we've got just 4 minutes, so I might just kind of, okay, we'll just keep going. So our sensory information, smell, taste, sound, touch, sight, all of these senses give you information about your environment, but they actually give you important information about yourself in the context of the environment, okay? I was gonna ask for examples, but we're short on time. So now I want you to think about how your emotions inform you about your environment. Think of a time that you were angry about something that you saw. I mean, angry. And were you angry at the person who said or did that offensive thing? Or were you angry that anyone could do such a thing because it's so completely against your own values and beliefs? It's a little bit different, right? We can utilize our emotional sensory information to tell us more about ourselves. The other person, the one who did that thing that made you angry, is also giving you amazing information about yourself. And that person whom you will have enough information to decide if you actually want them in your life, which is another thing that I deal with people a lot, relationships. The bottom line is that we're constantly uploading emotional information to tell us where we're safe in the same manner that we seek out temperature information to ensure that we don't injure ourselves on a hot stove. Okay, so, oh, there's emotion. So what does this have to do with me? If emotion's just information, how can we best use that information to get ahead of behaviors that we already know mess us up? How do we use what we know now about our emotional patterns to change them in the future? See my hand, it's in the future. All right, emergency brakes. The only way we can do this is to consistently interrupt our thoughts. Think about it like a chain of dominoes, right? You set them up lovingly, and then there's a trigger. You knock over that first tile. And all of the tiles will fall down unless you interrupt the chain reaction. The same is true with our thoughts. And if we can interrupt the pattern, that chain reaction, then we eliminate the poor outcomes that always happen with them. Secret sauce. So now you know you have the power to stop the cascade. But what next? You actually have to choose your next thought. Now, if we had more time, I do have some things, and maybe I'll just leave them up here for a second. Maybe we'll do one of them, right? When somebody says something I don't like, right? Or when somebody reminds me of something painful, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? And let's just do this together. You don't have to say it out loud. I want you to start allowing that thought. And now, stop, interrupt, ask yourself, does this thought serve me? What would be better? If you take a breath on that thought, it will instantly shift how you're feeling in the moment. And when you shift how you're feeling in the moment, that has an impact on how you're thinking. And if that has an impact on how you're thinking, that's going to have an impact on how you're behaving too. It's a cycle. I chose to throw the stick into thinking because that was a good place for me to interrupt. And my clients that work with me learn the best ways for them to interrupt a process that is a habit, that is something that is part of their automatic functioning, so that we can shift it on purpose. And that is part of what I do. Now, I'm done. Look, that's how you reach me. Did I do it, Sage?
It was amazing. You even like shortened it just a little bit. So Liz, I want to give you the option because I feel like that last slide, you didn't go into as much depth as you wanted to on this. So here's what I can do for everyone. Everyone, it's 5 o'clock. So for some of you, it's less. They're coming from the West Coast, Megan. So you guys absolutely have the option to drop off if you want to. Or Liz, do you want to go into more depth on that last slide?
I'm happy to for anybody who wants to stay. You know, I know it's late and it's Friday, but if you want to, like I said, I love this. It fills me up. So I'm quite happy.
For depth.
Yeah, I'd say go ahead and go. If you need to drop, of course you need to drop. Ruthie, if you got to go and cook dinner, by all means, girl, I understand completely, or go do dinner. I understand. So we started just a few minutes late. So Liz, I want to make sure we give you your time. And of course, I want to give you time for questions too. So if you guys are having to drop, thank you guys so much for coming. We will see you next week. And Liz, the floor is yours again. Go ahead.
Everybody have a great weekend.
Bye, Doug.
Take care.
So this slide was really just about, like, for me, the most important thing is to get people practicing. Now, when I learned these tools, it was very much do this seminar and then let people flail and then they'll come back to you. And that's not me, right? So my thing is I always like to get in a little bit more practice. So if anybody wants to practice with it, this is truly all about, and these were just things that came up for me. There might be other things for you. But yes, if, you know, we can do this. When I mess up a project, what do we say to ourselves? And again, we can do this silently, or if you feel like you want to say it out loud.
I'm not good enough.
And see how fast it was? I'm not good enough. I couldn't even get in there to interrupt. But as soon as you recognize it, you can say, stop. And for that, I'm not good enough. You could literally construct a question right there. What do I need to do better? How can I prepare better in the future? It's about interrupting, because once you say I'm not good enough, there's more, right? It never stops with I'm not good enough. Now I'll go watch TV. So that cycle, it's so important.
Trying to reprogram a bad behavior, right? And try to get a different kind of outcome, or build a new habit for a different outcome, right?
So remember, if we think about emotions as part of the sensory system and how the sensory system feeds into the central nervous system. So I try not to geek out on the science too much, but the central nervous system is connected to all of our muscles and all of our tendons and every element of our body. So when we have a thought like I'm not good enough, or I suck, I can't believe I'm so stupid, right? Our muscles do different things, and they send this, like, talk about a chain reaction, and it happens so fast that all of a sudden our thought process is spiraling out of control about how worthless we are. If we can stop it, even if it's at the 10th thought, right? It's better than when you're down in the pit. So interrupting as soon as you recognize that your thought process is detrimental, or best case, just not serving you. This is wasting my time. What do I need to do to get back on track? So this does not discount the truth. It does not try to reframe the truth. In my view, it allows you to take full responsibility for what you've done so that you can do better next time. Because being a human is not about being perfect. It's about doing better every day, right? So if we don't, I used to, with my teenagers, I tell them, you know, when you're riding a bike and somebody puts a stick in the wheel, you stop, right? That's what I want to do with these thoughts. They're the wheel that's going like this. We need to put a stick in it, even if it's jarring. Stop. I'm choosing to ask myself a better question, one that will get me where I want to go. And it can be, I've got like 3 simple ones. What is my next best step? If you interrupt and ask yourself, what is my next best step? I don't know if you noticed, I took a deep breath when I said that. It's helpful. What is my next best step, right? What can I do better next time? How can I forgive myself for the mistakes I've made and move forward with confidence? These 3 questions have saved lives. Can you imagine being so, I used to be that, and if anybody wants to raise their hand and say it's them too, spiraling out of control to the point where, like, we call it, it's hard for me to pronounce it, it's like catastrophism, right? When everything becomes so catastrophic, the world is ending. This is where our thoughts aren't true. They're not helpful, right? And when we can break it apart, and Eric brought this up, facts first, right? Like, you know what, I wrote it down right here. Facts before feelings, right? If your feelings are taking you to the place that's the depths of despair, you got to check your facts. It's probably not that bad. And if it is, who are the resources I need to reach out to help me right my ship? Nobody else has these answers for you, which is one of the problems that I always found in life. It was like I was always looking for somebody else to tell me what to do, until I went, oh my God, the answers are actually here if I ask the right question.
I wish we would teach something like this, a version of like this, for like preteens, just because teenage years today are a lot different than we were all kids, and it's getting more and more and more complicated and more difficult. This is hitting home for my family, because I have some kids that struggle with anxiety, and when all of a sudden you go from, I don't want to say logical, but that short little feelings to completely illogical, and the train's off the rails. We're just going a little nuts.
Right, and of course the teenagers and teenage girls in particular, if you say you have to stop, they're gonna fight with you. Like, it's just gonna, you know, you may redirect them from the thing they're upset about, and now they're upset with you. So like, it's difficult. It's difficult to work with teens with this, because they haven't had enough experience feeling rotten for a long period of time that truly, well, and they have enough experience with the ups and downs that every single teenager that I've worked with, and I've worked with maybe 60 in the last 2 years, they're like, well, maybe I would have felt better today anyway. I'm like, great, stop using the tools. You know, you don't have to use them. Call me next week. Tell me if you have gone back into your old patterns or not. But with adults, and especially parents, as a parent, if you could say, I hear how you're talking to yourself, and I just can't imagine that it's helping. What if you stopped and said, what can I do about this? Would they be responsive to you? Katie?
When I hear my kids, they're actually, it's more my husband than my kids having that negative loop, I'll say, don't talk to my husband that way.
Yeah.
And I do. I've called him out on it. And anytime I hear someone talking to themselves that way, don't talk to my friend that way. Don't. But I say it to my husband a lot, and it always stops him, because then he sees himself, instead of being in himself and absorbed, he sees himself as somebody worthy of that is cared for, and just shifts things.
Right. Well, you've interrupted the cycle.
Yeah.
And you've helped him focus on something else. Somebody loves me.
Somebody, I'm like, don't you do that? Don't you talk to him that way? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's beautiful, because it just takes a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And like in the past, I remember my mother would always tell me, you know, don't let other people control you. And of course, her words actually fed into it. It's like, oh, now I have no control over anything, and I've given it away. But we have to learn that we can put the brakes on and say, this doesn't serve me. What would be better? So, I mean, like I said, this was all just for practice, because Sage, I was not kidding. When I timed this, I had 10 minutes, right? And that was without the 4 minutes, because I was doing it by myself. So like this, we were going to spend 5 minutes on just really diving into, but I want you all to practice it. And I will give you the homework that I give all of my clients, which is to look for 5 opportunities every single day to interrupt and choose your edit. 5 opportunities every day. When you first get started, most people, you get 5 before you even get out of bed. And then as the days go, you'll find that it's harder and harder to find 5, because you're already doing it. And that's great, because you can train your habits just by looking for 5 opportunities every day to use them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Any questions for Liz? Liz, that was phenomenal.
Did I do good? I swear I took
awesome.
Notes on your presentation.
Really good. Yeah, great job.
Awesome, Liz.
Great job.
I have a question for you, Liz. Some people, they try to interrupt their thoughts, especially once they hear your tool, and they're like, okay, I'm going to do it. And they go to do it, and they still have the thoughts, and they struggle. And then not only are they struggling with the thoughts, then they're struggling with the failure of being able to stop their thoughts.
Right. So the issue then is it's about consistency, right? And most of the time when people stop their thoughts, they're not actually choosing the replacement thought. They're just interrupting it. And then they try to distract themselves by going and watching TV or doing something else. But a simple distraction isn't sufficient. And especially if it's an old ingrained pattern, it's so important that you consistently interrupt. And if your 5 times in that day are just for the same thing, you're doing great.
Yeah, progress.
You know, and you know, anybody who's over, 25 has some pretty deeply ingrained patterns. And so, if some people ingrain their patterns much earlier, but let's just say, it takes a while for us to make this new habit part of the fabric of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes the desire to do so. I hated being angry. I was so angry.
And it's shifting the thought, not trying to shift the emotion or the feeling. It's just shifting the thought. That the feelings, they're there. They're unconscious. They're coming from places they're coming from the thoughts. So
right. Well, yes, and right, because the feeling might be there, but and we've talked about this, like the chemical reaction of an emotion titrates through your body in 90 seconds. Right? And that's where that feeling comes from. It's your body processing these neurotransmitters that have dropped into your system and these stress hormones, right? And so it's like, right? But then they settle in 90 seconds. Mm-hmm. And so then the trauma is because we're still thinking about it, we're still talking about it, we're still engaging with it in that way.
Yeah.
So to be able to say, like, you feel your shoulders raise. How is this serving me? What would be better, right? And it is about just a dedication. And it's nice to have somebody who's around who can say, I see your shoulders going up, or I see your eyebrows like this. What's going on in your head? Do you need to interrupt? And that's a nice loving way, right, of being able to say, stop this. So yeah.
Thanks.
Most of what you've been talking about is when you're in the middle of it, actions to take. Is there something you could do before when maybe when you're thinking clearer to prepare yourself?
Yes, but that was my first presentation, and I'm so happy to do that again if you guys want, or you can just call me any other time, because yes, this is what I was telling Sage. I distilled the core of the program down to the absolute most critical parts, but then to train the habit, yes, I've got strategies and amazingly beautiful tools.
Gotta love those beautiful tools.
I love my beautiful tools.
Awesome.
Liz, what is your education? Are you a therapist, a licensed therapist, or what is your thing?
I am actually a behavioral scientist. I am not licensed as a counselor or a therapist. I teach people behavioral strategies, and then I teach them to mastery so that I feel confident letting you go back into the world knowing that you know how to use your tools. So I have a master's degree in forensic psychology. I worked with serial killers and juvenile delinquents and gang members. I was halfway through a clinical doctorate in psychology when my son got an autism diagnosis. And I've been playing in emotional behavioral work ever since. And it's been beautiful.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating. I've been just rolling in my head. Thank God for my faith.
Yes.
I think that when people have it's like a triangle. If you've got a foundation of things that you can stand on that are solid, and and then the next layer might be your education, and then the next layer might be something else about learning about who you are, self-improvement things like reading books that are feeding positive and educational things into your system, and you keep building on those, and pretty soon I think we all fall short of the person we really want to be. I mean, we have this idea in our minds about who we are, and you still fall short, and but then there's that comfort of knowing that, well, that foundation is there to know ahead of time, I'm going to fall short, and you can forgive yourself. And, there's just this sort of thing this rotation, this thing that happens. And it takes sometimes it takes a lot of years, to settle into that. And it doesn't happen by itself. I think you have to want it, and you have to do the work to get there, and I just find, I was really fascinated by what you had to say, and I'm thinking of my own kids like Sage, have you written any books, or have you done any? Do you have a blog? Do you have anything if I wanted to refer you to?
I do have, I have a bunch of things. Let's you and I talk off this, and then I'll make sure Sage knows how to find all of my stuff for sure.
Well, you're in the chat, so I copied the chat.
Oh, good.
So I know how to find you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Liz? Liz, I think we can all say that was a great presentation. That really
Thank you.
hit home, not only for myself, but for my family as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on today. Thank you so much for sharing time with us. I appreciate you guys sharing those great tidbits earlier as well. Like always, these calls or these videos are recorded, and through our Facebook page, you can go back and look at any of our old recordings. I encourage you guys to do that. There's been some great wisdom throughout the years. Plus, you can go back and watch Liz's first time she's presented as well, and get some even more Liz wisdom for your day. So you guys, we're gonna wrap up here in just a sec. Does anyone have any announcements or anything they want to put out to anyone? Anything upcoming? Anything you're super excited about?
Well, most of you know I do a very similar type of 4 to 5 o'clock event Monday through Thursday that I call the Rally Point Community, and I typically have a speaker, and we do some networking and sharing, and very, very similar format. So anytime you're looking for to plug in and learn something new and meet some new people, you can do that through Team Network as well. You just go to teamnetwork.com, go to my website, the calendar, and you can find us there. And Liz, I'd love to have you come on and speak.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Great.
Kurt, maybe on a Wednesday.
Maybe on a Wednesday, Eric. Yeah.
I'm just saying, Wednesdays are a good day now.
It is a good day. Eric is a Team Network member, and he's taken on the task of facilitating Wednesdays.
Eric is facilitating the new Huckleberry to facilitate Wednesdays. Is that you, Eric?
Be afraid.
That's awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it goes. It's gonna be off the rails. All right, guys. With that, if no one has anything else, I think this is gonna be it. I'm gonna stop the recording for here, and